Hillsborough County, along with local and federal health experts, are encouraging residents to wear cloth face masks to cover their nose and mouth when in public to help stop the spread of COVID-19. There are not enough surgical face masks for everyone, and available ones should go to healthcare workers and first responders. It's easy to make your own face mask out of common household items. The CDC and U.S. Surgeon General say you can use an old scarf, bandana, or make one using a t-shirt plus 2 rubber bands. Cut part of the t-shirt into a square, fold it from the bottom to the middle, then from the middle to the top. Repeat those steps one more time, then add a rubber band to each side. Bring each end to the middle, then secure around your face. They should fit snugly but comfortably. Cloth face coverings should not be placed on children younger than 2 years of age or people who have trouble breathing. The CDC emphasizes that while wearing a face mask, you should still practice social distancing, stay 6 feet apart from others, and continue other preventative measures such as frequent hand washing. We encourage you to visit hcflgov.net/staysafe for up-to-date information.
Flossing in the morning is a really great way to keep your teeth healthy and start the day. But when you're through, here's what you do. Throw it in the trash, don't flush it. There's a problem lots of people don't know, called sanitary sewer overflow. A condition buried deep in the ground, inside of pipes where bad clogs are found. It's a problem we can all help solve, so throw it in the trash, don't flush it. Baby wipes, bandages, cotton pads, paper towels, dental floss, clog up bad. Medicines, kitty litter, cotton swabs, hair. Throw them in the trash, don't flush it. It just takes a second to do the right thing, so toss it and let's keep our pipes clean. Throw it in the trash, don't flush it. If it's not toilet paper, don't flush it. Even if it says you can, don't flush it. If you're having any doubts, don't flush it. One more time, don't flush it.
Find your adventure here in Hillsborough County. With 25 unique trails, including 2 special ones in Florida State Parks, this year's hiking spree is going to be the best one yet. Register at hcflgov.net/hiking spree to earn this year's medallion. Show us your favorite spot by taking a picture and tagging it #TakeAHikeHC. Happy hiking!
Hello, I'm WWE superstar Titus O'Neil, and today I'm coming to you as a neighbor. You owe it to yourself and those you love to get tested now. Get the care you need and protect your family. Hillsborough County is offering free coronavirus testing and no health insurance is needed. It costs you nothing to get tested. Visit hcflgov.net/staysafe for more information and have a reservation made today. Share this with a neighbor and let's come together as a community and keep fighting to get through this. Together, we will come back stronger. God bless.
So you have now completed your emergency plan for your family. How about a plan for this family member? Protect your pets during a disaster by including them in your family's emergency plan. Start by making your pet a disaster kit. Put all paperwork into a large Ziploc bag, including a picture of you and your pet, your contact information, vaccination information, and special care instructions. In addition, you should pack certain items to help your pet during the emergency. A 7-day supply of food with bowls, a travel crate, and your pet's favorite toy. Remember, shelters are the place of last resort. Your plan should include being far away from the disaster's epicenter. But if you do find yourself at the shelter, know the rules. Once at the shelter, your pet will be placed in a designated animal section. This is for your pet's safety, as well as other shelter residents. Knowing the shelter rules helps everyone stay safe during an emergency. For more information about shelters, their location, rules, and how to get ready for a disaster, go to hcflgov.net/staysafe.
Is your local business or organization looking to give back to the community? Help keep our roads clean by joining the Adopt a Road program administered by Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful. Keeping our roads clean is a great way for team building as well as exposure for your business. Select the road your business wants to adopt and dispatch a team to remove litter and debris. Participants will receive 2 signs showing their organization's name as well as safety equipment and instructions for cleaning roads. You can help keep Tampa Bay beautiful by adopting your own road today. To learn more, visit hcflgov.net/cleanhc.
So let's say that Tim here was returning to his vehicle only to find it missing. He may think it was either stolen or towed. Let's not worry too much, Tim. Hillsborough County wants you to know the rules and regulations should you find yourself stuck in this unfortunate situation. Here are a few rules and tips you should know. Rule number 1, permission to tow. Towing services need permission to tow from private property and must post signs with telephone numbers saying that the trespassing vehicles will be removed. If your vehicle is missing, look for a sign and call the number. Rule number 2, communication. As soon as your vehicle is delivered to the local towing facility, towing services must notify local law enforcement within a 30-minute time frame, and they must return calls from vehicle owners within 1 hour. Helpful tip number 1. Law enforcement can help motorists determine if their vehicle has been towed. If you don't see a posted sign, call the authorities on the non-emergency line. Rule number 3, retrieving your vehicle during a tow. Most people are unaware that you can still retrieve your vehicle while connected to the tow truck. For a drop fee of no more than half the towing rate, the tow truck operator must release the vehicle to its owner. When it comes to payment, tow truck drivers must accept the following: debit, cash, cashier's check, or money order. Rule number 4, personal property. If the owner is unable to pay the drop fee and their vehicle is in the hands of the towing company, owners still have the right to retrieve personal property from their vehicle. Helpful tip number 2. Having a registration and title in your name will make it easier to recover your vehicle. Tow companies will not hand over the vehicle if you are not the registered owner, unless you have an original notarized affidavit signed by the registered vehicle owner. Remember, Hillsborough County is here to help you. For complete, detailed information on towing rules and regulations, please visit us at hcflgov.net/consumer protection or give us a call at 813-635-8316.
Hillsborough County has teamed up with the Department of Health and other public health and safety agencies to address any impacts the virus may have on our local community. To help prevent the spread of the coronavirus, here are a few tips you should know. Practice proper hand washing by using soap and water and wash for at least 20 seconds. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizer if you cannot wash. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Cough and sneeze into a tissue and throw it away. Clean, high-touch surfaces frequently. Some examples include doorknobs, credit and debit cards, cell phones, keyboard and mouse devices, and toilet handles. Stay home if you're feeling ill. If you have any flu-like symptoms, avoid contact with the public. Avoid sharing personal items in spaces with those close to you. Seek medical care early if you're feeling sick. Symptoms of the coronavirus can include fever, coughing, and shortness of breath. Seek medical care if you develop these symptoms or if you've been traveling or have been in close contact with a person who has traveled from an area with an ongoing spread of COVID-19. We encourage you to visit hcflgov.net/stay-safe for up-to-date information and tips.
Tampa Bay is like no place else.
Wait, you can't recycle the bag? You have to throw it away.
Proper recycling keeps it that way for everyone. Bags tangle in machinery and can bring sorting efforts to a halt.
No bags.
Trash the bags and keep our recycling program moving forward.
No, Mom, look, no plastic bags.
Do your part to keep our recycling bag-free. Trash the tanglers or return them to participating retailers. For more information, visit tampabayrecycles.org.
This is a battle we've never faced in my lifetime. I want to tell you about 416 of the most amazing people. Every day I get to see their skill, professionalism, and dedication. their commitment to protect and improve the health of everyone in Hillsborough County. The last 2 months, they've been on the
It's good to things about technology tonight, but let's do the Pledge of Allegiance first, and the flag is on the screen.
Hillsborough County.
United States. God, liberty and justice for all. All right, so obviously we are virtual, so we're doing everything we can to make sure tonight flows in a good way. So if everyone can mute themselves when you are not speaking, that would be a good first rule for us all to follow. This may be a long meeting. I just want to warn everybody, we are gonna be listening to everyone's plans for surtax money. So if you remember that, that may be long, but I'm hopeful that we can do everything we need to do this meeting so we can knock it all out tonight. If you
Sean?
at any, yes, who is this?
This is Manny Menendez. I just clicked in. I have been doing a remote meeting myself since before 9 this morning. It is still going on. I had agreed to be the hearing officer in a medical peer review with a physician down in Fort Lauderdale. They assured me the meeting would be over by 5. They're still talking, and they've got another 2 hours or so. So I told them I was leaving them for a moment to check in here to see if you all had a quorum. And if you did, I was going to excuse myself with my humblest apologies and go back to see if I can help these other 10 people who are on the line. So that's where I am. I'm sorry. I told them I had this meeting tonight. They assured me they'd finish in time. And that's what you get when you believe in people that.
I was gonna say a bunch of lawyers going long. That doesn't sound right.
Exactly. A bunch of lawyers who just keep talking, and Judge, they don't pick up the hint.
Judge, I believe we have a quorum, and that if you need to drop off, you can. I don't think our quorum will be affected by you dropping off. If I'm incorrect, Johnny, correct me. But I believe we have enough. Is that correct?
Yes, it looks like we have more than 7, so
okay. We have enough, Judge. So if you have to be on and off, you're welcome to do that. We understand.
Thank you, Sean. And if I get them to move a little faster, I'll just pop back in and see what's happening. Thank you, and again, my apologies. All right.
No worries. Like I was saying, everybody, if you can stay muted when you're not talking. If you want to be recognized at any moment, if you wave on the camera, I should be able to see you. If you type in the chat, I should be able to see you, or staff will be able to see you to make sure that we get your question answered. And then we will recognize you so you can unmute and be recognized. So we're going to take the roll now, and so we can establish a quorum. So when you hear your name called by the clerk, if you will unmute, say hello, and then remute yourself. So Mr. Clerk, I think you can go ahead and take the roll.
Yes, sir. Shaw.
Here.
Fletcher.
Here.
Kilpatrick.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Hunter. Robert Hunter. Joyner.
Here.
Fernandez.
Here.
Hollenkamp. Jay Hollenkamp. Aprelli.
Here.
Lemke.
Here.
Menendez. Sharamonte.
Here.
Rawlerson.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If we'll move now to the approval of the minutes, I hope that everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes from April 27th, 2020. If anyone has any corrections or questions about them, we should go over that now. And if not, I would certainly entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the minutes.
Thank you, Senator Joyner. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Who was that, Mr. Aprilli?
Yes.
Thank you. And if you can announce so that the clerk has a better time of doing the minutes, announce when you're making a motion or seconding, that would help. Okay, we've got a proper motion on the floor and a second. If nothing else, all those in favor, if you will. Well, how do we want to do this, Johnny? How do we want to actually do the vote? Are we doing roll call votes for everything, you believe?
I'm not sure. Sam is nodding his head. I think that would probably be the most convenient.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Sam Hamilton, County Attorney's Office. That would certainly be suggested given the meeting format.
Sounds good to me. All right, Madam Clerk, if you will read off the roll so we can vote on the motion to accept the minutes.
Yes, sir. Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Hunter, Joyner,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprilli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Sharamonte,
Yes.
Rawlerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 10-0.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next item, and that is the presentations of our audit and annual report. So I believe that we are going to have our audit team present the results and findings of the Surtax annual report, and I will allow them to begin whenever they're ready.
Thank you. Good evening. This is John Gilberto. I was partner on the examination for last year. And with me today or tonight is Lauren Stroke. Lauren is the director, and Lauren will go through the fine details of the timing, the nature, and extent of what happened during that examination. So we have completed the Transportation Improvement Surtax examination for the year ended September 30th, 2019. And we want to thank all of the participants that were out there, that the transportations, the cities, the towns that were involved in getting us the information we needed to get this done in a timely manner. Cooperation was very good and very smooth throughout the process. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren, and Lauren is going to go through our presentation to you, those charged with governance of the results of our examination.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and good evening. Johnny, could I get the next slide, please? So an examination is a little bit different than an audit.
If I can have you state your name for the record, please.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. My name is Lauren Strope. An examination is a little bit different than an audit in the sense that there are procedures that are less in scope than an audit, but are directed towards reviewing financial activities and compliance with legal requirements. So the standards under the AICPA are the attestation standards, which are the same throughout any sort of an examination and just kind of what you have to follow during an examination. Specific to this examination that we performed, and that was the basis for the Transportation Improvement Surtax requirements, are those three requirements that are listed on the screen in front of you. And I'm sure that all of you are quite familiar with what's in those. Next slide, please. So this is the scope of the examinations for the different entities that are involved. There's the examination of the clerk, and that's mainly to confirm whether the transportation surtax proceeds and related interests were properly allocated to different entities. There's the examination of the MPO, And then there's the examinations of the BOCC, HART, City of Tampa, the City of Plant City, and the City of Temple Terrace. I did want to point out that this year that there were no expenses that were showing up in any of the entities. So all of these procedures that were performed were not performed on any of the expenditures, as there were none in FY 2019. Next slide, please. So in quick summary, we did issue our report that was dated June 30th of 2020. We issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we as the external accountant in this situation can render. There were no expenses this year, so we did not perform any of the procedures over expenses. And as John mentioned, we had full cooperation with all of the entities, and we really appreciate everyone who helped out during the course of this examination. And on our very last slide, we are happy to take any questions that you might have now. If any questions, comments, or concerns do come up, even throughout the year, please do not hesitate to reach out. That is our contact information. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions you might have over the results of the examination this year.
Thank you for that. I'm looking at the screen to see if anyone has any questions or comments. I don't see any in the chat, and I don't see anybody waving. Oh, Mr. Fernandez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. Hi, and thank you. Again, this is, for the record, Rick Fernandez, whoever's keeping track out there. I wanted to note first on your, this is just a typo, at least I think it's a typo. In your notes, you have a follow-up group of pages, note 1, 2, and 3. I think there might be a note 4 too. Note 3, subparagraph 3, under note 3, it's allocation and disbursement of revenue. 3 lines from the bottom of that page, I think it's page 4 in the actual document. You have the MPO on alarming and development purposes. I'm assuming alarming is supposed to be planning and development. I don't know if you need a moment to catch up with me, but
I see what you're saying. I would have to pull exactly specifically where that came from, but I'm sure you're correct, and that would be a typo.
Okay. I mean, I hope it's not alarming. If it is, maybe we need to talk about that. But in any event, I think that's just a typo, but probably ought to be fixed. And I do, Chair, if you'll allow, I have a couple of questions.
Sure. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I have a tendency to take a lot of time on this, so if anybody wants to raise their hand, I can step back for a moment and then come back. First of all, the audit I see by the letter was completed March 30, or at least it was signed off on March the 30th of 2020, which, as I understand, is exactly within the time limits required. It has to be 6 months after the end of the fiscal year. I'm curious, so what becomes of these findings during the period between March 30 and today? And let me be more specific. If there were some glitch found, that there's a problem, and what happens to that? What's the process for actually running down potential problems with the audit or review? And how, if at all, is the Independent Oversight Committee included in that process were it to be found?
Absolutely. So you guys would be included in the process. If anything were to come up during the examination itself, we would reach out, one, to the process owner. So let's first say it was an issue with the allocation. We would go and talk to those that have the allocation and the authority over that and ensure that we understand completely what happened there. At that point in time, given the severity of what it is, we might reach out directly to the committee. In future years, I'm hoping that there's not a pandemic and that we're able to meet sooner after our report date. Our report date did go through September 30th. So it's September 30th, 2019 is kind of that cutoff date in this particular year. And then we issued the report over everything in March. So again, if something were to happen, we would come to this committee.
Okay, so it wouldn't just sit there for the next 6 months waiting to be presented to us. There is some, we're just getting, this is kind of virgin territory for all of us. And we haven't just been through this yet. So I just want to make sure I understand what's in place. Also, if I understand, Chair, may I continue?
Yeah, sure. You're recognized for your series of questions.
Thank you. I understand that the total revenue is 188 million and change for basically for the 9 months, January through September 30, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I also understand that those monies have been dispersed to the funded agencies. And that's supposed to happen within 5 days of the money coming in. Is that correct, to the clerk?
Yes.
Okay. Do you follow up on where it is that money is held, how it's invested, interest rates, all of that happy stuff that most of us have to deal with in our day-to-day investment decisions? How is that monitored and policed?
We do look into that. And if you were to look at, I believe it's footnote 2, let me scroll through real quick. Yes, footnote 2 and footnote 3, that kind of goes over specifically what it is that we do to look at how the interest is calculated and those sorts of things. But yes, we do look at that information.
And if you were to find any irregularities of any sort, or if you would find that investments perhaps are, is it part of your charge to determine whether or not the money is being invested properly?
That is not under the scope of the engagement, no.
Okay.
The scope of the engagement covers what's on the face of the examination, which would be the valuation that sits on the face of the statement and the existence of that investment or the cash or the investment, but not how it is invested. That's each participant's internal plan and process, and that's not part of the scope of the audit. We look at the value and the measurement of the asset to confirm that it does exist.
Okay. Now, I'm curious, and this may be beyond the scope of your charge as well. Maybe this goes to Sam Hamilton, legal, whomever. I understand the money comes into the clerk, and the clerk is then required to dispense the money out to the various funded agencies. That's part of the mechanism, and it's within the charter amendment and all of the other requirements that are listed in our documents. I'm curious, so maybe you know, maybe you don't. We've been basically treading water with this funding since inception, really, because not a penny has been sent out. And we've been told that the agencies can't spend the money. That's been some type of internal mechanism that has been affected to have that happen. But I'm wondering if you are aware or understand why it is that the stop measure doesn't come in at the clerk's office. Why does the clerk release the money only to have the agencies then hold the money in perpetuity, seemingly at this point? Why not stop it at the clerk's office and not disperse it further until we know what's happening? Do you have any idea?
Sir, that isn't, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
There are two things in that area. First, under the agreement, they're supposed to pay it out within 5 days. So that's, they were trying to meet their requirements, but the requirement to be able to spend it because of it going into the cases and the suits is been laid upon them. But the rest of that on why or why not the county can issue it would be more of a legal issue than an accounting issue. Again, we looked at the requirement for the 5 days and the payout and make sure that that was met. And then we looked at, again, the valuation, and we retested the investment earnings and the support for the investment earnings in this case. When there's expenditures, we'll look at the allowability of the expenditure within the surtax requirements. But since there weren't any expenditures, that wasn't done this year. Does that answer the question from our point of view from the accounting side?
Yeah, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm trying to flesh this out as best I can from a procedural perspective. And I appreciate that this probably wasn't technically within your charge as an accounting concern. I'll tender back to the chair. I may have a couple of other questions, but I want to give others a chance.
Okay. Unless someone else waves me down or is in the chat, I'd like to go ahead and move on this if we can, because I know we got a lot more stuff on the back end. But Mr. Fernandez, you're welcome to ask a few more questions if you want, but I don't think anyone else has any. So after you, I'm going to go ahead and want us to move, but feel free to ask what you need to ask.
Okay. Well, I gave you a chance. I appreciate it. I gather from what the chair just said, and let me be clear, Sean, because if this isn't the case, I can wait until we actually have our discussion. When I looked at the agenda, it appeared that the motion to approve or to move forward with our recommendations would be held further down on the agenda, not immediately after the presentation. Is that the case, or do you intend to move it forward now?
It is my intention to move it forward now.
Okay. Well, then let me then ask this question. If I understand correctly, we are being asked to make a determination as to distribution and expenditure of surtax proceeds. More specifically, was there compliance with governing law? And my concern, I'll just put it out there. Obviously, the accounting company, the accounting firm is on the dais at the moment or at the podium, but maybe someone else can answer this question for me. I don't see anything in the governing law that permits, requires, suggests anything of the kind that the monies, once received by the clerk and then distributed to the agencies, that the monies be held in abeyance pending the Supreme Court decision. What I see is that the agencies shall expend the money in accordance with the provisions of the ordinance that was passed by the Board of County Commissioners, I believe in September, and the charter amendment. Everything is tailored in terms of shall. And I've never understood under what authority, since there's no injunction that we've been placed under by the court, under what authority this money is being sequestered. In my view, in an unsustainable way at this point. This can't go on forever with people being taxed. You have nearly $200 million already collected in 19 and another probably $200 or $250 million collected in this fiscal year. We're going to have nearly $500 million in sales tax revenue just sitting there. And I don't see anything in the existing or governing law, which is the terminology being used here, anything in the governing law that permits that to be the case. So I just want to pose that to the accounting firm, to legal, to the MPO staff, whomever. How is it that that is being permitted to continue to happen?
I am going to direct that to Sam, Mr. Hamilton, our counsel. I remember having this discussion, but I don't remember the specifics of it. It's been a while, but Mr. Hamilton, if you can take that one.
Sure, Mr. Shaw, Chair. Very quickly, the bottom line is, and I want to be brief, I do need to caution the committee. We are still, as everyone knows, as I said the last time we had this particular discussion on this particular question, we are still in the midst of pending litigation. Obviously, we're awaiting a decision by the Florida Supreme Court. That has not come down yet. So I do want to caution the committee, given the fact that we have pending litigation, there really should not be much discussion. The recipient parties, based on legal advice, have chosen not to spend the money. Obviously, in light of the litigation, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and everyone has decided to await the outcome. Obviously, once we have an outcome, we'll know, if it's a positive outcome, then the expenditures will go forward. If it is a negative outcome, that's a different animal.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just one person on the committee, obviously, but all I can say without further elaboration or understanding on my part or education coming from legal, I don't see how what's happening right now is within the governing law, the sequestration within governing law. It might be in accordance with legal advice, but I don't see it being within the bounds of the governing law that we're operating under. So if I'm asked to vote on this and whether or not governing law has been complied with, I'd have to vote no, things standing as they are now. So I may be one vote out of many, but that's where I am. Okay,
No,
thank you, Chair.
Nope, I appreciate that. Are there any other questions or comments regarding the audit? Okay, Mr. Hamilton, can you give language as to what we need to do with regard to the audit? What specifically we need to say in the motion as it pertains to this audit? You're muted.
Must have hit it twice. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, Mr. Chair, the requirements come out of two places. It's basically the same language, the charter amendment, as well as the ordinance passed by the county commission last fall. The committee has to make a finding which includes the determination as to whether the surtax proceeds have been distributed in accordance with the charter and the local ordinance, and whether the proceeds have been expended in compliance with applicable state law. Those are two primarily what you're supposed to make findings to as to the audit. And obviously, given the situation with the pending litigation, as the auditors have advised you, there's been no audit of expenditures because there have been no expenditures. And based on the legal advice, given the pending litigation, that is the rationale for the lack of expenditures. But it's really those two findings, and given the pending litigation, that obviously creates a unique circumstance as to the second finding at this juncture.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I would ask someone to make an applicable motion with one way or the other. Yes, Mr. Rawls.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the audit report as presented.
Second. Dustin Lemke, seconds.
All right, do we have any debate on this particular one? All right, if not, we will start the roll call for this this motion to accept the audit report. Madam Clerk, if you will read the roll.
Yes, sir. Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Joyner,
Yes.
Fernandez,
No.
Hunter, Hollenkamp, Aprelli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Sharamonte, Rollerson,
Yes.
motion carried 8-1. Fernandez voted no.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let us move now to the, thank you also to the audit team. We appreciate that and your work there. Let's move now to the IOC annual report. I think, Dr. Wong, you're in charge of this presentation.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to pause my webcam because I have to lean very close to the computer while I talk, and you all don't need to see that. We presented this to you In January and April, Johnny Wong, IOC support staff for the record. Once again, we presented this to you twice before, and I'm bringing you an update so that we can move it forward for approval. So the IOC annual report is required by governing law. The county ordinance states that the IOC must prepare an annual report summarizing the results of the annual audit process and any findings made. So although this report was 99% done back in April, we were waiting on you all to make an action regarding the audit before we could finalize it, which is why we're here today. This report serves as a source of information for the public about the uses and benefits of the surtax revenue. We also wanted to use this first IOC annual report to try to highlight on some of the notable projects that were identified in the year one project plans. We've incorporated all of your feedback that was provided to us at previous meetings into this final version, including not limited to content changes. You requested some mapping edits and even the logo. And so we presented this back to you in April, and I think that you all approved of it. And we use this logo to brand all IOC activities. I'll just quickly go through a layout of the report. It was included in the agenda packet, so you all should have had an opportunity to see it. But just to recap, on page 2 of the report is the inside cover. We worked very closely with the chair to draft a message from him and summarizing the feelings of the committee. It spells out why the tax is important to the county and to the community. It discusses what benefit this surtax revenue will have in terms of moving projects forward and solving some problems specifically pertaining to our transportation system. Now that we have the findings from the audit formally adopted, we are ready to finalize this report. We have already summarized the results of the audit based on what we saw in that draft report. So what you're seeing in the audit that was made available in the agenda packet is what we are looking to move forward as a final version of the annual report. Pages 4 and 5 of the report are dedicated to showing what the surtax can fund and how the revenue is distributed. As I mentioned to you in previous meetings, we revised all of this content to address suggestions provided to us by you, including distinguishing the share of the revenue going to individual municipalities. We've also added examples of projects. We've taken out all of the planning jargon and wrote it in plain English, understandable to the general public. And we also included some call-out boxes that serve as nice visual graphics for anyone wishing to use this report for presentation purposes. On pages 6 and 7, we provided some info about notable projects included in each of the local government's project plans. We paid special attention to some of the higher value expenditures coming out of those plans. We used a similar approach for pages 8 and 9, which show projects used to improve our transit system. We included a map of the service enhancements and discussed the impact that this fee will, or that this revenue will have on parts of the community that have suffered as a result of service loss from Mission Max. At the bottom of the page, we included information for how the public can stay in contact with you and present project proposals that it comes up with. We supplemented the text descriptions of each of these projects by including a map of all of the projects to be funded using surtax revenue from calendar year 2019. And we also noted that this information is available on a mapping tool available on the IOC's website. We wrap up the report providing some information about what the IOC is, its structure, what functions you all perform, and we conclude the back cover with your names and your appointing body and contact information for the committee. Now that we have received the results of the audit, we're ready to move forward with an action, and the proposed action for you all is to approve the 2019 IOC annual report. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Wong. It is a beautiful document. It is very well put together. I know a lot of work went into that, so we appreciate it. Any questions about the annual report? All right, if there are no questions, I think we'd be prepared to entertain a motion to accept it or to approve it.
So move.
Who was that?
Jason.
Gotcha.
Audrey Sullivan Moore, I second.
Thank you. If there is no debate, which I don't see any, we will have the roll call vote.
Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Hunter, Joyner,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprelli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Sharamonte,
Yes.
Rollerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 10-0, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And again, thank you to staff and everyone that contributed to that document and taking in all our suggestions too. We appreciate that. I think we're going to move into the public comment section now. So we've gotten some comments in advance, but of course the public can in real time make comments to this committee by raising their hand in the GoWebinar toolbox or by simply calling into the meeting using the number that's in the agenda. So we certainly welcome public comments. And I believe, do we have any people that want to speak right now?
Good evening. This is Vishaka Raman, MPO staff for the record. I have
Okay.
Mr. Chris Vela who has raised his hand.
I think we are prepared to take that public comment. Say your name again so we know.
Chris Vela.
Okay. You are recognized for public comment. If you can just limit it to 3 minutes, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do appreciate you all giving me a time to comment. Last year, I was inspired to write
Excuse
a
me,
study.
would you recite your name for us, please?
Absolutely. This is Christopher Vela, and my zip code is 33605. May I proceed?
Yes, sure.
Okay. All right. So last year I was really inspired coming from a trip from DC to advocate for better transportation for the Tampa Bay area. We were seeking an alternative to the interstate widening project known as Tampa Bay Next. On the plane back to Tampa, I decided to hammer out a high-level study plan to look at the current situation we're in right now with interstate widening projects like TV Next. The problem with these projects is that we rely on the engineers, we rely on the same consultants all the time when this is coming up in front of the public. And so what I would like to do, or what I'm proposing in this agenda, is hopefully to have a coordinated event where the MPO, the city of Tampa, within the city limits, determines the local impacts if an interstate is to be widened. Because currently right now, I looked through FDOT's reports, they don't know the local impacts. And this is very critical because the interstate goes through our community redevelopment areas, our CRAs. And what FDOT says when they're proposing these projects is that we're going to get some money back, but that money might be anywhere in the county. So as we are losing neighborhoods, businesses, Main Street to asphalt going way beyond the city limits, we needed to determine a baseline. So basically, what would the city be like if we didn't have this? And actually look at the true costs. And I know it's going to be difficult, but that should be done. That is, if there is damage on property, we need to know. And to the neighborhood. We also need to know about the impacts, the environmental impacts. There's a tremendous amount of minorities that live along the interstate. I'm actually a Native American. Hispanic, and I'm right next to the downtown interchange, and I can tell you the noise and pollution is off the charts. And so we need to look at that, and we also need to look at Vision Zero and how it's tied to all that. Not necessarily to reduce fender benders like on the interstate. It's really actually the streets serving the interstate and the impacts to the local neighborhoods and people, unfortunately, physically getting hit by fast cars trying to access this interstate system. And I think that's where we really need to begin at. So this is kind of, again, just coordinating everything, doing a deep dive at the local determination and having that data available and easy for the public to understand so we can properly rebut anything that comes from the state that we didn't ask for. Thank you.
Nope, I appreciate that. I would offer one suggestion too, is I would have you make some of those same comments in front of those other entities that you were discussing too, but we appreciate those comments to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other members of the public who would like to speak right now?
Mr. Chair, I don't see anybody else on the who's expressed interest at this time.
Okay, I appreciate it. I believe we now will have Ms. Beth Alden. I think she is going to be summarizing some of the comments we have already received. There you go. I see Beth on the screen now. Can you summarize some of those comments for us? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we did provide the opportunity for people to phone in comments or post them on Facebook. We have received 4 project ideas. Those 4 are all in your agenda packet, and I will summarize them briefly. So one of them was the request for a study that you just heard Mr. Vella describe. So we did receive that in advance as well. The other 3 are all roadway projects. So one of them is Meridian Avenue in downtown Tampa, a request for safety improvements because of high-speed traffic on Meridian. One of them is Valrico Road or Dover Road between I-4 and State Route 60. The request was for more lanes and also for safety improvements. And then the last one is a request for resurfacing on several roads in South Tampa, specified were Gandy Boulevard, Interbay, and McDill. So the role of the Oversight Committee with respect to these project ideas from citizens is to review the project ideas, the project requests, and forward them to the appropriate agency for consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Alden. We appreciate that. So at this time, I think it would be proper, considering what you just said, we would entertain a motion to direct staff to forward these citizen projects to the appropriate agency.
Mr. Chair, this is Dan Rollerson, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rollerson. Do we have a second?
This is Dan Aprilli. I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Aprilli. Any discussion before we have them call the roll? All right, Madam Clerk, go ahead and call the roll on that one.
Yes, sir. Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Hunter, Joyner,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprilli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Aramonte,
Yes.
Rollerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 10-0.
Thank you. We're now going to move to the part of the agenda where we are going to be listening to the presentations from the agencies for their actual projects. And so the way I hope this works is that each agency is going to come before us, make a presentation that's limited to 10 minutes. After their presentation, committee members will ask whatever questions they want to of that agency, and then we will take action after that particular agency's presentation. So I just wanted to roll out kind of how we'll go through it agency by agency. If anyone doesn't have any question about that procedure, then we will bring up, I believe the first agency is HART. And so HART, if you're ready, go ahead and I think you can go ahead and begin your presentation.
Great, thanks so much. Can you hear me all right?
We can.
All right, I'm gonna turn off my camera so you can just focus on the screen, but my name is Justin Willits. I'm a senior planner with the service development at HART. I'm joined by several of my HART employees that are gonna help me with some of the questions about the specific line items and submittal of projects. I'm gonna best to give you the overview about how we're approaching this planning side, and then we'll take questions at the end, and we can move to the next slide. So just a quick refresher, our approach to the surtax was to look at resetting the baseline of our existing service network, establish a vision, and then achieve that vision. We have started the process of resetting the baseline, if you will, by performing some analysis and making some short-term plans. Some of those have begun, some of them have not been, most of them have not been completed, but we are still planning on this, moving in the same direction as we were when we approached you with the projects last year. Next slide. So just to give you a brief overview again, there are three primary buckets associated with the surtax that HART will be programming projects from. The 45% is allocated for enhancing bus service. It's very broad, and express buses, circulators, neighborhood transit, paratransit, and other modes. Decision be based on leadership, increasing service to more residents, better land use, generating more ridership, and the potential for additional fund sources. That 3-year total for 2019 to 2021 is at 145 million. And then for the second bucket at 35% of the surtax is for expanding public transit options at 113 million for the 3-year total. This is to be spent on transit service that utilizes an exclusive right-of-way for at least 75% of the length of service. This is primarily things like rapid transit or guide rail. We're still, that will be the least allocated bucket as we are still developing those projects. And then the 20% remaining funds are very flexible to improve public transportation, and we've allocated, I believe, all of that to various projects. Next slide. So to give you a refresher, the first year of service improvements that we had slated are still on the table. This was coming out of that 45% of enhancing bus service. This is some of the restoration of service. You can see in the red there, routes that were covering Mission Max. You'll see starting from the north, Route 41 on Sly Avenue, Route 4 in South Tampa, and Route 46 on Causeway Boulevard and Palmetto Beach from downtown out to Brandon. Some of the county funded service, some of the historically county funded service was going to be brought under the IOC ledger. We had a good amount of coverage for those existing routes. And then there were some frequency improvements we identified that were consistent with our 10-year TDP as it existed last year. So those are frequency improvements on the weekday for routes like Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, the West Shore Route 45 from West Shore all the way to the University area, Route 30 on Kennedy Boulevard, Route 12 on 22nd Street, to name a few. And then there's various weekend frequency improvements as well. Next slide. So when you look at the large list that was provided to Mr. Wong in the IOC, these are how the projects break down into the larger categories. You can see the allocation within the guideway bucket is for planning purposes because we don't have what you would call shovel-ready projects for transit. So we have almost all of that going to unallocated reserve there at the bottom row. Service, we're allocating a generous amount to our operations and maintenance facility in this updated list. That is, as many of you know, or as a refresher, is one of our greatest needs, modernizing our operations and maintenance facility, and also dealing with capacity issues so that we can expand as we intend to with the surtax funds. Moving down, the rolling stock and vehicles are another major expense, and then a large allocation for service, as a related primarily to what was shown on the last slide, but also some additional service. We finished some of the work associated with charting that course for getting us back to where we need to be with a service on the street. And then the last column, the other column, a wide variety of projects will be associated with that bucket. And we'll see, you've had a chance to review that, but we can look at that in more detail on the next slide, please. So because of the way that our planning works, we had identified projects last time around in the IOC list that were short-term, very critical needs that have been funded through various grants or year's budget or from a variety of factors. So a few of the projects have moved off of that list, and then a few projects have been updated because we had those short-term needs that we couldn't wait for the IOC for the surtax, excuse me. And, kind of why you'll see some differences, but from a high level, what was removed from the IOC year one, some policy modernization, some of the bus stops and transit centers and Marion transit renovation, the hard operations and maintenance facility, the skid enhancement, little environmental remediation, some facility improvements and storage tank improvements, some of the rolling stock technology support for the AV, and then some additional technology related to vehicle location and vehicle safety and surveillance, modernization, expansion that we have been able to improve some of that over the course of the last year. Some of the new items on the right column that we've added under the bus stops and transit line item are for route maintenance, net park break room improvements, making some facility improvements to our parking lots and seal coating them. Some surveillance upgrades have also been added. From the planning side, the CSX environmental impact study has been added and a future transfer center study. We've also allocated real estate dollars for acquiring and constructing of those transfer centers once the study is complete. We've got paratransit vehicles under our rolling stock ledger item. And then service, we've allocated some more funds, as I mentioned earlier, for frequency improvements and service extension based on the short-term service plan. Part of that service plan was dependent on funding from the first year of the IOC. So that's a bit of an unfunded chunk of that study. We're still hoping some funds to move that forward, but we are reserving the funds for that service so that when it is ready to go, we're able to put it on the street. And under the technology item, some enterprise resource planning, which is just technology for operations, some paratransit scheduling improvements, and the radio replacement. Next slide. And that's really the summary there. As I said, I'm joined by several other staff members that are more intimately familiar with how the list evolved, some of the specifics for those maintenance items that have come and gone between the 2 years, and we'll be happy to take questions now. So thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. I have two questions. One, what is the net park break room?
So the net park transfer center is off 56th Street, west of Hillsborough and north of MLK. It's one of our major transfer centers that connects Brandon to the rest of our work. And it's just an improvement for operators when they come in and take their layover at the location to make it just to bring it up to modern standards. That might be some air conditioning and just kind of enhancements to make it a better place for our staff to enjoy between their shifts.
Second question I have is about the service study. am I right if I was to say the short-term service study is what you use to determine what routes need to be expanded?
Yes. So the short-term service plan was going to be based on a comprehensive operations analysis. So the operations analysis piece of that study has been completed, except for the expansion program based on the increased revenue. But there's a little bit of a detail in there because there's an board survey is a component of that kind of operations analysis, and that was postponed due to the pandemic. So we've incorporated a lot of the analysis into our January service changes as a result of that study, but we stopped short of doing some major overhauls because we didn't have the data that was associated with that onboard survey. So once that is done, that will also help us complete that and wrap it into a future.
So there's certain expansion plans that you can't undertake because you haven't been able to fund the full study. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's a small amount of money, but it is significant in getting the technical work done to support that effort.
Okay, thanks. Members, do we have any questions of Hart?
Audrey Sullivan Moore. My first question, can you expand on the surveillance and security upgrades? Is that for facilities or is that for the buses themselves?
I believe that was primarily on board, but there are a few security enhancements associated with them as well. If Cindy Stiglitz, interim CFO, would like to add to that, I welcome her input, but I believe that she'll.
Hi, this is Cindy Stiglitz, interim CFO for Hart. The $1 million that is placed in the IOC list this year is for facilities. We have identified funding for the security system on our buses. What you see in this list is for facilities.
Thank you. And my second question, administration, can you explain the breakdown of the cost for administration?
Again, Cindy Stiglitz, are you specifically referring to one of the projects within administration?
Not necessarily. The figure just seemed a little high to me.
Last year, we had $8 million in labor costs and staffing. We also had $650,000 in policy modernization. We were able to address some of those cost adjustments for our non-bargaining employees this year in our FY21 operating budget without using sales tax. That's why you see the change at the top of the $654,000 coming out of this list. We did, however, increase the labor costs and staffing line to $10 million. When our bargaining unit, our ATU specifically, went to the table back in April, there was provisions within that contract that we unfortunately cannot honor at this time because the sales tax, it was heavily reliant on the sales tax. So based on the contract, the way it's positioned today, if we were to get the sales tax, we would be able to honor the provisions in that contract, which equate to, again, with a new year on top of it, it would equate to close to $10 million.
Thank you.
Members, any other questions of Hart on their presentation? Either wave at me or say something or go in the chat. All right, I don't see any. Then if it is appropriate at this time, we would entertain a motion on this, on Hart's 2021 project plan.
Joyner, I move that we approve the plan presented by Hart.
Dustin Lemke, I second.
Been properly moved in second. Is there any debate? All right, Madam Clerk, if you will read the roll.
Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick, Moore,
Yes.
I am getting really bad feedback. If somebody can turn off their mic. Thank you. Hunter, Joyner,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprelli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Shermonte,
Yes.
Rollerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 9-0.
Thank you for that. Let's move to, I believe Hillsborough County is the next agency to present. And if they are ready, they are cleared to proceed.
Yes, this is John Lyons, Public Works Administrator for Hillsborough County. Okay, next slide, please. So our 2021 surtax project plan is a continuation basically of the 20 plan. It had additional funds towards projects that were only partially funded. So there's the initial phases of project development and design phases were originally considered last year when we submitted the plan. The plan is consistent with the approved budget allocations. We continue to focus on deferred maintenance, resurfacing, sidewalk repairs, bridge maintenance, intersections as well. Continuation of project development and design phases, and a master planning effort for additional analysis and engagement to drive longer-term surtax programming above and beyond our current CIP. The actual 2019 and 2020 revenues have been projected to be significantly lower than expected as well, which may have an impact eventually. Slide, please. Just a quick overview of our existing mobility system. We have almost 7,200 lane miles of roadway, over 3,000 miles of sidewalks, 63 miles of regional trails, 552 signalized intersections, and 271 bridges. Next slide, please. We want to use guiding principles on any mobility project that we do, taking into account Vision Zero, maintenance and vulnerability. We want to reduce fatalities and injuries, congestion relief, and provide health and mobility options for our citizens. Next slide, please. Ongoing mobility priorities include bridge maintenance and rehabilitation, repaving, sidewalk repair. A lot of projects for safe routes to schools. Our board has given us direction to try to complete 2 miles of sidewalks within every school in the county. Additional trail development and extension. Pedestrian safety and mobility improvements, smart technology signals. We're currently working on a project with our fire rescue for preemption on signal corridors. Complete street projects to enhance mobility for both bicycles, pedestrians, along with vehicles. Intersection signal projects, which could include roundabouts, and lane capacity and road widening projects that include enhanced bicycle, pedestrian, and transit facilities as well. Slide, please. Next, thank you. We continue collaboration and engagement with all of our community partners and stakeholders through the process, and I won't go through all of those. Next slide, please. So the projected allocation for the county this year is about 88.4 million. I say for this year, but I mean 2021. 20% of that would go into maintenance and vulnerability, 26% in congestion, 27% in safety, 12% in the bike ped network, and remaining funds, about 15%. Next slide, please. the categories in the backup material or the material that was submitted to the IOC in end of September included further descriptions of the projects in these variety of categories. And as you can see, many of the projects bridge more than one category. And so those projects were established that way, which was, again, a continuation of what we did last year. This plan was approved by our Board of County Commissioners on September 16th. We had a certification letter from an independent engineer as well, and they were transmitted to the IOC on September 29th. And I believe that's the end of the presentation. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Members, are there any questions? Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, this is Rick Fernandez speaking. The question on your ongoing mobility slide, I don't remember what the rest of it was, but the first two words were ongoing mobility. Yeah, that one.
Yes.
The congestion bullet point, lane capacity and road widening. Could you drill down there for me a bit?
Yes, I can. I'm going to. So what that's going to, on the congestion relief portion of that, those would be a lot of intersection improvements to where would be able to provide additional turn lanes in some cases. The lane capacity could be a road widening project as well. So we do have, I think, about 16 or 18 projects listed in the backup material of the information that was submitted that show lane capacity where we'd implement also complete street type scenarios along with that. A good example of that is a project that's not in the surtax plan, but Big Bend Road in South County. We're installing off roadway bicycle trail, multimodal path along with that, and working with HART for any type of transit stops as well in that road widening project.
Okay, I guess what I'm looking for, the road widening component of that, as I understand it, if it's intersection related, and somebody can correct me on this, Johnny, whomever, if it's intersection related, that's within the compliance parameters for the surtax funding. Straight up road widening is another issue. And you're suggesting that there may be some road widening component to this beyond what at least I understood to be within the compliance parameters. So could you help me there?
I can. So I think what that is we've typically used congestion in a little bit different definition of what it's in the surtax plan, in the surtax documents. The projects that we have listed within the surtax under congestion relief would be those intersection improvements, and they are consistent with the definition of what's in the surtax. In this case, we call these as complete streets and some lane capacity projects within the backup material. This is just an error on this slide only. The backup materials that were submitted are properly correct.
All right. Well, if I've managed to stumble upon an error, maybe that could be corrected on your slides for purposes of your future presentations. I just want to make sure that we're not veering into an area that's clearly verboten under the surtax.
No, category 2, we're absolutely not widening great lengths of road or intersection improvements typically.
Okay, thanks. I'll shut up now.
Do we have any other questions from members? I have one question. It was about one of the slides. It mentioned public engagement and your partnerships. What kind of public engagement is the county doing with regard? Yeah, describe if you can the public engagement.
Sure. So as we lay out specific projects, typically they're going to be generated. Any new projects from the surtax would have to then go through a public hearing process to include those in the capital improvement program. That would be one step of a public engagement opportunity for folks to comment on that. As the projects are developed, we go through the preliminary engineering report and the PD&E, the preliminary design and engineering study. We hit a stop point there and take that project out with some conceptual plans and alternatives to the public. And so that'd be a publicly noticed meeting that we get engagement from the neighborhood, if you will, for an intersection project, a trail project, any of those type projects. So we're getting input and feedback from there. The plans are typically, we're not hitting every project for every one of these buttons that are on this engagement partnership slide, but we work closely with the school district as an example for safe routes to school projects. We work closely with the MPO and the implementation of the Vision Zero process too. So it is a public engagement and a public partnership with these agencies as well. I think hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that answers my question. Any other questions from committee members? If not, I don't see any more questions. I think we're probably ready for a motion. Sorry, Dr. Wong.
Chair, if I could interject, Sam Hamilton was suggesting that the action for the committee be to certify compliance of the calendar year 2021 plan with governing law. We just want to remain as consistent as possible with that specific language of the charter.
Do you believe we need to go back and restate the motion for Hart? Mr. Hamilton.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Yes, I think that would be appropriate.
Restate exactly what needs to be said, please.
Under the charter and the ordinance, the two components that we refer to as the governing law, the task of the committee is to make a determination as to whether the plan is submitted. It's to certify that it is certify whether it is in compliance with the governing law as opposed to approval. So it would be moved that the particular plan move to certify that it is compliant with governing law, which is the charter amendment and the county ordinance.
Okay, so if we could go backwards a little bit at this time, members, and I would entertain a motion that Hart's plan, that you would certify that Hart's plan is in compliance, Hart's 2021 surtax plan is in compliance with governing law. I would entertain a motion in that.
Okay, this is Joyner. I move to certify that the Hart 2021 plan is in accordance with governing law.
Thank you.
And Dustin Lemke, I second.
Thank you. If we can go, I know this is excessive, but if we can go ahead and do a roll call vote on this.
Yes, sir. Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick, Moore,
Ms. Kilpatrick, I think you're muted.
Moore,
Yes.
Joyner,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes, on the Hart plan.
Hollenkamp, Aprelli,
Yes.
Zemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Sharamonte,
Yes.
Rollerson,
Yes.
and was Kilpatrick able to get back online?
She wrote yes in the chat. I don't know if she thinks I think she's muted though. Or the sound's not working.
Okay, Lionel, if I can just have you confirm for the record that Kilpatrick did vote yes, and then we can go ahead and accept the vote.
She has voted yes in the chat.
She did vote yes.
Perfect. Motion carried 10-0.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, members. But now, if there's no question or comments about the Hillsborough County plan, I would entertain the same type of motion to certify that their plan is in compliance with governing law.
Ray Shermonte, I'm sorry. I would like to make the motion to certify the Hillsborough County 2021 plans in compliance with governing law.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Joyner, second.
Thank you. And let's call the roll on the vote.
Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick, is she still having audio issues? And if so, Lionel,
She
can
may
you
have
do the
logged-
same thing?
She may have logged off and tried to get back on because I don't even see her in the video now. So you can go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Moore,
Yes.
Connor, Joyner,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprelli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Sharamonte,
Yes.
Rawlerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 9-0.
Thank you. I think we can move now to the City of Tampa surtax plan for 2021. And if they're ready to proceed, let's go.
Yes, good evening, committee, and thank you for making the time. This is Vic Bide, Director of the Mobility Department. I'm going to be presenting the 2021 surtax plan. Next slide, please. So a quick overview. I'll talk about the background, our priorities, and how they align with the surtax. Through transforming the transportation system. We'll look at our actual project plan and what the program areas are, and some projects, go through the certification statements, and we'll take questions after. Next slide, please. So a quick background, we've put our plan together as a result of previous planning efforts, as well as some more recent actions. This includes the comprehensive plan and the MPO's long-range transportation plan. We have several projects within that have been carried through. We also have updated our citywide mobility plan, and we continue to move forward on those efforts, and we'll touch upon that. And of course, various phases of our walk bike plan, which are critical to our Vision Zero efforts. Next slide, please. Also considered within the projects that have been submitted for your consideration is public engagement. So for a lot of these projects, which were conceived previously and were unfunded and have been added to the list, we've already conducted public engagement, and that varies from either at the vision level or project level. And once the project is shovel ready, it's on the list for construction, for example. For all projects that haven't been initiated yet, we will continue robust public engagement, similar to other agencies where we want to start going to the community when we have a vision and get their input rather than just notification of what we're going to do, for example. All of our projects are prioritized based on maintenance needs, safety, congestion, and expanding the walk bike network. Where possible, we have leveraged grant opportunities outside of surtax as well, and partner with agencies that we work with. And also utilize existing resources. Next slide, please. These are some program and project types. Generally, within the 4 buckets, we have everything from street activation and tactical urbanism using low-cost measures to improve safety, to larger capital projects like resurfacing and corridor projects. We also have several programs like Safe Routes to Schools, like speed limit reduction citywide, and some technology improvements around traffic signals and intelligent transportation systems. And of course, kind of transforming the footprint of our roadways, especially at intersections by including roundabouts and other treatments. Next slide, please. So Vision Zero is at the core of everything that we do, and other agencies have spoken to this. In essence, we're among the most dangerous regions for bicycles and pedestrians. So that's a key factor, safety, that drives Vision Zero. There are other factors that also play into quality of life when it comes to Vision Zero. When you put in safe and comfortable bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure, you also enable aging in place without having to make special arrangements. You also foster equity through low-cost measures of mobility. So those are many tenets that we look at as we develop our Vision Zero action plan. We also look to improve health outcomes, which are tied to active transportation. Studies have shown that the more active transportation facilities an area has, the healthier the community. And of course, we're always open to innovation, and we use what we call the city as a lab approach to test new ideas and grow them if they're successful. And if not, it makes us nimble and we move on to the next thing. Next slide, please. So again, looking at different project types, we have complete streets and safety projects. We have congestion relief projects, which include intersection projects. In some cases, adding intersection capacity, but only at the intersection. Neighborhood or area-wide improvements, which go hand in hand with our broader PIPES program, which the PIPES program basically replaces our water and wastewater pipes within the city. And what we're doing is leveraging surtax dollars or asking for surtax dollars to augment these improvements and improve the transportation network at the same time. This is in line with our Dig Once philosophy, if you will. Walk bike improvements, we've got the green artery on the 21 plan. Bridges and seawalls, again, for resilience against climate change. Transit projects and citywide programs. These programs are everything from operations and system preservation to sidewalk programs to some transit initiatives that we work with our partners on. Next slide, please. So again, vis-a-vis the 4 buckets that we have, this is kind of the matrix of our different project types. It is to be expected that several project types will overlap or kind of coincide with different buckets, and that's how we've got it organized. Next slide, please. So let's look at citywide programs real quick, and one example is our 30-year planning effort for the city's roadway network or transportation system. We call it the MOVES plan. The guiding principles are actually based off of the acronym MOVES. It stands for Mobility for All, Economic Opportunity, Jobs Access, a vision to kind of transform our system to promote health, sustainability, to foster equity, meaning removing barriers to access different modes of transportation for the folks that need it the most. And that's important because that becomes a criteria for prioritizing projects as well. And public safety, of course, both for all ages and abilities, but also for all modes. Next slide, please. Some other programmatic areas are smart streetlights. Again, a majority of pedestrian incidents happen between 3 and 7 p.m. in our area, so lighting is important. Signage, Vision Zero, and street activation programs. Next slide, please. Then we have what we call corridor projects. These are the complete street and safety corridors. This year, we have about 5 new corridor projects, including Boulevard and Florabraska. We have a few projects from last year that are also added to this year, but that was because the previous year we were asking for design funding, and now we're moving to construction or a different phase of construction as well. Just to clarify, while we have this, category, complete street and safety, all of our projects aim for complete street applications in some way, shape, or form, and hence the overlap. Next slide, please. For congestion mitigation, we have proposed upgrades to Ybor City traffic signals. A lot of these traffic signal structures are almost 40 years old. They're about twice past their useful life. And so they're at a higher risk of failure and require replacement. And that's why that project is on here. Next slide, please. We've got broader neighborhood improvements, which coincide with the PIPES program, as I mentioned. Next slide. We have a couple of key walk bike projects. One is the Green Artery Perimeter Trail. Again, this alignment and the project itself is the product of significant public outreach several years back, and now we see the opportunity to expand this. As you can see, the original plan is from 2013, and it was documented in the city's walk bike plan thanks to partnership with the MPO. This perimeter trail actually goes, I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback here. Okay, can you all hear me still?
I can. I think that might be the 10-minute alarm. I think that might be what's going on there, but
Great. There it is. No worries. I'll wrap it up then. Next slide, please. We have transit projects, the streetcar being the key fixed guide project for the city. We're working with HART on this. Next slide. This is the general distribution of our funds across the buckets, and it does meet the minimum targets as specified in the original charter amendment. Next slide. So what we're proposing includes 32 miles of complete streets, 63 miles of new sidewalks and bikeways. We're improving safety and maintenance on 2 bridges, including adding pedestrian and bicycle capacity, over 60 intersection improvements, and 11 neighborhoods with roadway and safety improvements. Next slide. Our budget was certified by our chief engineer, Milton Martinez, and approved by City Council on September 17th. Next slide, please. And at this point, I'll be happy to take any questions. That's just a picture of the mayor displaying our Crosswalks to Classrooms program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead, Senator.
I'd like to know what project type does the Channel Side District fall under?
Is this the Channel Side Drive project that is along the port currently, the north-south alignment from the roundabout to Kennedy?
Yes, if that's the one that recently had some press about the port opposing the closing down to one lane because they said that it would interfere with their ability to provide adequate transportation for the people coming to the port to access the cruise lines. So I'd like to know, where does it fall in the list of the project types?
Got it. Thank you for asking. Now, that project is not on our 21 list, but that would be a complete streets project. In fact, it's a classic complete streets project because Channelside is a transit corridor. And what we're doing is through that project, proposing improved access to transit, better pedestrian safety, a sense of place by utilizing a median and a gateway effect, traffic calming through proper channelization and traffic control devices, and all of this while considering the needs of the corridor, including cruise ship operations. We've taken a look at the data and we feel comfortable with the project.
So follow up, Mr. Chair. So you're saying that the project is going to proceed. I thought that it was pulled from the agenda because of the port's insistence that it not be done because of the economic damage that could occur as a result of one lane with all those people coming in and buses and cars to access the cruise ships. So what is the status of that right now?
So the project is currently on hold pending discussions with our stakeholders so that we can find consensus. And we feel comfortable that we will find some consensus around specific project scope.
Follow up, Mr. Chair. So this leads me to ask what was done in advance to engage the citizenry and the businesses on the channel side prior to the adoption of the complete streets for that area of Tampa, channel side area.
Sure. So this project was initiated over 2 years ago by our CRA. It was initiated in partnership with key stakeholders in the area. And in terms of public engagement, we had very comprehensive public engagement where we actually hired a firm. We had a series of public meetings. We put different concepts of designs out in front of the public and stakeholders. They got to vote on them and on 2 separate occasions. And we finally landed on an alignment, which as we proceeded through designs, we're coordinating with stakeholders for deployment.
Follow up. So at that time, you did not get any feedback to the resisting the plan of decreasing down to 1 lane in the channel side area?
Not until a few months back. I mean, we were working with the port and they had, several requests. And of course, we accommodated a lot of those requests. So they were concerned about the project and we coordinated with them appropriately. So yes, it's been an ongoing process of working with the stakeholders.
Okay, one final question. What is the projected time for resolution of that particular issue?
So frankly, we were hoping to begin construction a while back, but we'd like to move forward as soon as possible. If I were to, be held to a time frame, I'd say by the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore and then Mr. Chiramonte.
Good evening. If in your jurisdiction, are there any plans on improving Howard Avenue, particularly between Kennedy and the entrance to the interstate?
Yes, ma'am. So Howard Avenue is a county road within city limits, and the county is actually working on resurfacing Howard and Armenia Avenues. And as part of that, we will be implementing a lot of, shared Vision Zero values between the county and the city, which includes more crosswalks, better sidewalks, ADA improvements, and more conspicuous signage and control devices.
Mr. Chiaramonte.
Thank you. Vic, just so I understand, the Channelside Drive project isn't being funded by this, the source of it isn't from this tax, is it?
That's correct. It is not part of the 2021 surtax list and not related to the conversation at hand.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. And I recognize that, but since I had the authority, the person who has knowledge of it, and it is an issue that could later come up in other parts of the city, I just wanted to know from the perspective of being an informed citizen.
That's good.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Kilpatrick.
Yes, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, yes.
Thank you. So you mentioned earlier about the pipes project. Can you explain how the use of these funds are authorized, or how it relates to the pipe system that you described?
Sure. So the PIPES program is funded by fees to upgrade wastewater and water pipes within the city of Tampa. So as part of that process, they would have to dig up roadways or, reline pipes in place, but there would be disruption of our local and regional road network. Given that there is a disruption to that network anyways, what we're proposing is leveraging surtax dollars to augment the water and wastewater work to also improve our stormwater and transportation system as we go through there. And I mentioned stormwater because our roadways are conveyance for stormwater. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I just want to be clear that that's within the authority of the surtax usage.
Yes, so it is within the authority of the surtax because the funding that we're asking for neighborhood improvements will go towards system preservation or system enhancement. So resurfacing roadways, adding sidewalks, improving safety, adding more crosswalks, those sort of efforts.
Does that include roundabouts?
Yes, ma'am. If it does, seem appropriate and we have the rights of way available, yes, it does not preclude any treatment related to data.
One other question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
What is the time frame with respect to engaging the neighborhood or the citizenry with respect to the installation of roundabouts?
So good question. And again, at the time we conceive of a project, we would like to go out to the neighborhoods, share our vision, get feedback from the community and incorporate it in our project development. So ideally, that is when we want to go out to the community, and that's our goal.
Well, I guess I wanted a time perspective. If you envision that it's going to be done, at what point is the community engaged? A year in advance, 6 months? That's really what I want to know.
Yeah, good question. So if I could clarify, it could even be, a few years in advance. So for example, one part of our citywide programs is the MOVES plan development. That MOVES plan is the citywide mobility plan that will outline projects for the next 30 years. And as part of that project development, there is a strong component of public engagement because that's when we're really framing what our transportation system would look like. Then when that project goes into project development or starts getting funded for developing the specifics of the project, there'd be additional public engagement as well. And then finally, when we go to construction, we continue that public engagement. And I'll give you a quick example with the neighborhood improvements. We're doing what we call the blue hat person on site. So there's one representative from the contractor that has a blue hat on, and she or he is the person for the community to engage with, and just to make it easier for the community to identify who their resource is.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns about the City of Tampa surtax plan? I don't see any. If not, I think we would entertain a motion here using the proper language to certify that the City of Tampa 2021 plan is in compliance with governing law.
No. Mr. Chair, Joyner, I move to certify that the City of Tampa plan for 2021 is in accordance with governing law.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Dustin Lemke, I second.
Thank you. With that, I don't see any other concerns. Madam Chair, if you will call the roll.
Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Joyner,
Yes.
Hunter, Fernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprelli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Sharamonte,
Yes.
Brawlerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 10-0, sir.
Thank you. All right, we are getting through these very well. We've got two more. The next one is the City of Temple Terrace, their 2021 plan. If you will proceed when you're ready.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, committee members, Troy Tench, Public Works Utilities Director. I'm here this evening to present the City of Temple Terrace's Transportation Surtax Project Plan for 2021. Next slide, please. So just a brief timeline on the surtax project plan itself. I brought the plan to the City Council, our governing body, if you will, in August. Followed that up with a workshop early September to discuss the plan in greater detail. The council then passed the surtax project plan on September 15th of 2020. We then presented the plan to the IOC by the September 30th deadline. And that brings us here tonight where I'm actually presenting a plan to you with the anticipation of certification. Next slide. As you may or may not be aware, we are a small agency distribution, meaning we accept more than or less than 5% of the total revenue generated by the plan. So we are exempt from the percentage breakdown of each of the categories. However, we still have to meet the intent of the plan. We still have to meet the intent of those four categories. And I believe our plan has done that. Next slide, please. We heard earlier this year from the MPO that the anticipated revenue for the City of Temple Terrace for 2021 is going to be somewhere near $2 million. We did project out about $2.1 million worth of projects, understanding that these projects are opinions of probable costs, so they may be a little bit high since they are estimates, and we want to make sure that we spend every penny that we receive in revenue. As far as the projects themselves, we focused on roadway improvement and maintenance and pedestrian paths and trails. Next slide, please. So this map, although it is a little bit illegible, my apologies for that, it more or less shows the City of Temple Terrace in the gray area and the distribution of our projects
in both the southern, central, and northern regions of the city. Next slide, please. So the first southernmost project that was indicated on the project plan is in the East and West River area. We have some roadways within those sections of the city that are in very poor condition. So we are proposing to go in and restore those areas with full depth reclamation. Again, that's where you take kind of the upper 8 to 10 inches of the surface and subsurface of the roadway, you grind it up, mix it with emulsion, put down a new base, and then you top that with a new layer of driving surface. The estimate for that effort is around $750,000. Next slide, please. The next project that we have planned is more of your traditional mill and resurface. That's where you simply go in, mill the upper 1.5 to 2 inches of asphalt, and then replace it with a similar depth of new driving surface. Very commonplace within the industry. Now, this would take place within the central core of the city. Both Whiteway and Druid Hills are kind of interior collector roads for the city itself, so it would provide good access points out to the State Road 56th Street. The cost for that effort is around $1.2 million. Next slide, please. The final roadway project that we're proposing is double micro. That's where you go in, you put about a 1/2 of an inch of new driving surface down. The roadways within the Rain Tree area in the northern part of the city are still in pretty good shape. And this would allow us to extend the life of those roadways by probably 8 to 10 years. So we felt like it was a very cost-effective way to keep those surfaces in good driving condition. The cost for that particular project or those projects would be about $120,000. Next slide, please. So now we're going to get into more of the paths and the pedestrian pathways, multimodal use trails. We have a wood bridge that's adjacent to Riverside Park. It's in poor condition. It is in need of refurbishment. So we'll be looking to use about $135,000 to refurbish that bridge and get it back into good working condition. Next slide, please. Our final project it's a really nice project. It is the design of a joint use path or multi-use path for individuals that live in the telecom community. We've got a number of residential areas in that area as well as multi-family, and it would provide a nice pathway for those folks that live in that region to gain access to Lettuce Lake Park, a county park. So that would be the intent of that design, is to go ahead, design this year and then implement in 22. The estimate for the design of that trail is $100,000. So that said, that wraps up pretty much everything that the city of Temple Terrace is looking to try and accomplish by the 2021 project plan. I did take note last year, if you recall, had a bit of a plethora of projects that we proposed. And this year we actually wanted to kind of make that more concise, draw specifically to the projects, let the committee know these are the projects that would be implemented with the funds from the calendar year 21. I'll stand for questions, if any.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of Temple Terrace? I don't think so. All right, at this time, we would entertain a motion with the appropriate language to certify that Temple Terrace's 2021 surtax plan is in compliance with governing law. Anyone to make that motion?
Audrey Sullivan Moore, I make the motion that we approve the 2021 City of Temple Terrace plan as it is in accordance with the county ordinance and charter. Did I say that correctly?
Maybe just say governing law.
Governing law.
There we go.
Mr. Chair, certified, not approved.
You want to restate that, Ms. Moore?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Audrey Sullivan Moore, I make the motion that we certify the 2021 City of Temple Terrace plan in accordance with governing law.
That
This is
sounds,
Dan
Good to-
Aprilli, I'll second it.
that all sounds good to me. If there's no further discussion or debate, Madam Clerk, you can go ahead and call the roll.
Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Joyner,
Yes.
Hunter, Fernandez,
Yes.
Hollenkamp, Aprilli,
Yes.
Lemke,
Yes.
Menendez, Saramonte,
Yes.
Rollerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 10-0, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Tench. The approval of that had nothing to do with that gator you had hanging on the background during your presentation.
It's
right,
all about
we will
product
now-
placement. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, you did your research there, man. Good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on now to the city of Plant City. That is our final project that agency that we're gonna look at today. And if they are ready, you can go ahead and proceed.
Thank you, committee and staff members. This is Frank Kokenauer, interim city engineer, city of Plant City. We're happy to present to you the 2021 Plant City surtax plan. Next slide, please. Our plan is relatively straightforward. It consists of street resurfacing, a component of sidewalk connectivity, and moving forward with our bicycle and pedestrian master plan. Next slide. These projects were selected by the department, reviewed with the city manager, and received commission approval on September 28th. Next slide. Street resurfacing is going to be throughout the city. We're looking at addressing roads in 5 neighborhoods. There's roughly 36 miles of streets will be milled and resurfaced for a total of about a little over 6.5 miles of roadway centerline. Next slide. The sidewalk connectivity component is primarily connecting sections of discontinuous sections of sidewalk to help improve people's walking. Next slide. And we're looking to move forward with the bicycle and pedestrian master plan. In 2017, the MPO began a plan, and this is the next step. We're taking the next step where we can start developing cost estimates and priorities. Next slide. Overall, the city anticipates receiving approximately $2.8 million from the tax. 2.4 million of that will go to the roadway resurfacing, roughly 200,000 to the sidewalk improvements, and we estimate 200,000 for the master planning effort. Final slide. This slide just shows the general location of the projects throughout the city. It includes the resurfacing in yellow and the sidewalk improvements in green. And that's it. Last slide, if there's any questions.
All right, members, any questions of Plant City? All right, there are no, oh, go ahead, Mr. Lemke. Yep.
Sorry, Dustin Lemke. Again, I know you don't have to fit the buckets of money exactly like the larger entities. This seems primarily to be resurfacing. How do you see this really fitting with kind of the intention of the overall surtax plan? It just seems really heavy on resurfacing and maybe missing some of the other pieces the other plans have had.
It is heavy on the resurfacing. That's one of the biggest issues we have. The most obvious issues right now, anyway, and we're looking to get that out of the way. Some of the other efforts take quite a bit of planning, and that's one of the reasons we're looking to invest this year in the master planning for the sidewalks and the bicycle trails.
Perfect. I'll be very excited next year to see the results of the sidewalk and pedestrian study.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Mr. Fernandez and then Ms. Moore.
I'm sorry, Chair. I don't have a question. I was going to make a motion. I'll step back.
Okay, Ms. Moore, do you have a question?
Along the same lines of the prior question that was asked, do any of this resurfacing encompass safety?
It's primarily addressing existing roadways and existing situations. We will have, along with any of the road work that's done, we address handicap ramps and that sort of thing in the same project, but not so much in the way of intersection improvements, that sort of thing.
Any other questions or concerns? All right, at this time, we would entertain a motion to certify that the Plant City surtax plan for 2021 is in compliance with applicable law.
I have such a motion, Chair, if I may be recognized.
You can, Ms. Fernandez.
All right, sir. I move that the IOC certify that the City of Plant City's project plan for calendar year 2021 complies with governing law.
This is Dan Rollerson. I'll second the motion.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, if you will go ahead and call the roll.
Shaw,
Yes.
Fletcher, Fletcher,
Yes.
Kilpatrick, Kilpatrick, Moore,
Yes.
Joyner,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Hunter, Hollenkamp, Aprelli.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, Aprelli.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Lemke,
Yes.
Aramonte,
Yes.
Rollerson.
Yes.
Motion carried 10-0.
Excellent. Members, thank you for that. I know it was a long meeting, but I think we did pretty good. Under 2 hours for all of those things. So Mr. Rawlison will be happy with me for that. But at this time, we've done what we needed to do. We've now kind of in the section of the agenda where any member, if you have anything that you want to bring up or talk about, you're welcome to do that now. Yes, Ms. Kilpatrick.
Yes, I'd like to understand, as you know, we know that the funds have not yet been released yet, and we received proposals from 2020, and now we're getting proposals for 2021. Are these under the assumption, I mean, I'm assuming that none of the money has been spent. So how are the agencies able to move forward with subsequent plans when their initial projects have yet to be funded and completed?
Mr. Fernandez had a similar question. I'm going to allow Mr. Hamilton to answer that in the safest way that we can, considering the pending litigation.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Sam Hamilton, County Attorney's Office. I can certainly speak for the county, and I would have to suppose that the other jurisdictions are in a similar circumstance. The charter amendment, obviously, in its current form, and that is with changes made by the trial court in the pending litigation, still actually provides for each jurisdiction to come up with a list of projects, submit its project plan to the IOC for certification and whatnot. That's essentially the reason why the jurisdictions are still coming up with the project plans. And certainly there is a hopeful anticipation that the litigation will resolve favorably and the jurisdictions will be on with their various projects. But the simple reason is that the charter still provides, the charter and the local ordinance that we refer to as the governing law, still provide a mandate that the jurisdictions come up with the local plans. And we're still in this sort of pending mode. And as I think I've mentioned to your staff and at least the chair on one occasion, on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, we are reviewing the Supreme Court's website, awaiting a decision. It could come any week now. We certainly expect that to be the case, but until it does, we're just sort of on hold. And I hope that answers the question, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Kilpatrick, did that answer to the best we could in legalese?
Yes.
Okay. Any other member concerns or interests at this time? Yes, Ms. Moore.
Oh, yeah, Audrey Sullivan Moore. I had made a statement when we reviewed plans last year that I would have liked more detail on the areas that they were proposing changes to, that they denoted if changes had been made to some of those areas recently, because as you all know, some areas get more work than others. I didn't see anybody change or putting in the additional information in the plans this year. So I just want to put it back out there on the record.
No, I appreciate that, Ms. Moore. I would, we will note that for them in the future. When the individual plans are given, I would say that you nail down and ask them exactly about that. But we will note that going forward too.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, if there's no other interest, I don't think we have any old business, but with regard to new business, Dr. Wong, do we need to talk about a date for a new meeting, or is that something that so far in the future we're good?
I don't think that we need to discuss it now. I was going to bring it up as a topic because I was expecting that we would be certifying compliance sometime later in this year. We don't really know what 2021 is going to look like and what may be expected of you, but I'll certainly be in touch with a draft calendar in the next 2 months, and hopefully we can at least have that tentatively nailed down before the 1st.
All right, members, if you heard that, we'll be in touch with you about a date for whenever that next meeting might be. It's going to be pretty far in advance, so that's why we probably don't need to talk about it now. And although we do not know what 2021 will hold, we certainly hope that it is better than what 2020 has been. So, but I appreciate everyone being on the call. I'm glad that we got through all these certifications and did what we were supposed to do. Staff or council, is there anything else we need to do before we adjourn?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
None to mine either.
All right, with that, I appreciate staff getting us all where we need to be, and members, I appreciate you hanging in there with us for this to do all this certification. But the good news is, because we did it all, we don't have a meeting for a while. So I will see you next time, and with that, we will adjourn. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Have a good evening.